to the entertainment Talking Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the rumors that have started to circulate around Twitter that were based off the Instagram post by Yannick Ngakoue today, the defensive end from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he's a guy that a lot of New York Giants fans have a lot of interest in, being that the New York Giants have some cap space. He's a very consistent defensive end. We're going to get into his stats in a second. But he's a free agent this year. Now, before we even get started, let's start off by saying this. The Jacksonville Jaguars have been quoted as saying that their top priority this offseason is to franchise tag Yannick Ngakoue. Now, Yannick could threaten to hold out, or maybe they won't do it. You know, we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. They're having a lot of turnover there, and Ngakoue is going to command a lot of money. The Jaguars will have to, weigh their options there. But by all accounts, by what Yannick is starting to do, he's at least hinting that he wants out of Jacksonville. Jacksonville, of course, is going to probably cut a lot of players. They only have $1 million in cap space, and by franchising Ngakoue, it would only make it worse. So we'll see if they're true to their word, and he is their number one priority. But if he does hit the open market, it seems as if the New York Giants are a place he's going to want to play. He posted an Instagram, actually somebody else rather, posted an Instagram picture of him in a Justin Tuck jersey, which I'll show you guys in a second. And he kind of hinted that he would be interested in going to the Giants there as well. And then today, what he did really started to get New York Giants fans excited. Now, of course, if the Giants were to sign an Ngakoue, he would eat up a lot of their available cap space. They're going to have, we'll say, about $70 million to spend when you factor in draft expenses and cuts. So he would eat up about $20 to $22 million of that when I show you what the top guys get paid in the sport at the position. He's still incredibly young. He's only 24 years old. I think he'll be 25 next year. And I'm going to do more in-depth videos as free agency approaches on him and several other players. One of the things I really like about Ngakoue, though, first off, he's a third-round pick out of Maryland. He has experience in both the 3-4 and the 4-3. In college for Maryland, he played in the 3-4. When he got to the pros, the Jaguars ran a 4-3. So he's played in both systems. He's familiar on how to play in both. So he may very well be a primetime target for Joe Judge and the New York Giants, being that they're looking to have versatility. They keep saying it. The new defensive coordinator wants that as well in a Patrick Graham. So the fact that he has experience in both, he has the athleticism. He's 6'2", about 246 pounds, somewhere of thereabouts. May very well be a guy that the New York Giants are really interested in. But let's jump into some of the notes on him and some of the stats on a Yannick Ngakoue, and then I'll show you some of the Instagram posts that came out. First, I'm going to show you guys his stats. The one thing I really like about Ngakoue, he's still very young, like I said. He'll be 25 next year. Very consistent. He's not like a Shaquille Barrett who had a big year this year, but outside of this year, he's never had more than four or five sacks. This guy, every year, you know what you're getting since he's been in the NFL for the most part. You go ahead, you look at that sack column. 8 sacks in his rookie year in limited playing time. He only had 22 tackles. He had 8 sacks. His second year, he ended up with 12. His third year, he had 9.5. And this past year, in 15 games, had 8 sacks. So he's never had less than 8 sacks in his 4 seasons. He's very athletic. He's very strong. And it's a position that the New York Giants have needed consistency at for quite some time. The other thing you got to really like there, doesn't have an injury history, knock on wood. 4 years, he's only missed 1 game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And, he's a very, very good player. But we have to question, is he worth the money? When you look at that, he's very, very good. I don't know if he's great, but he's definitely a very, very good player that will make a difference. Is he worth paying the top? He's going to probably be the top paid defensive end in all of football when all is said and done. It happens every year. Whenever a very good player hits the open market, the market, of course, changes every year. They're usually the top paid player at their position. And when you factor in age, upside, and production, Yannick Ngakoue is probably the most attractive pass rusher on the open market. Clowney's been around for a few more years. Plus, most people think he's going to stay in Seattle. But I would say that they're probably going to get a comparable salary. This guy is going to get paid. And what I wanted to show you guys was what the top defensive ends get paid. Khalil Mack signed a deal recently, I think last year. he's making $23.5 million a year. Now, he may not get that much, but he will probably get what DeMarcus Lawrence got when he signed an extension this offseason. He's making $21 million a year. Frank Clark's making about $21 million a year. So that's going to be what it costs. So say you have 70 to play with, you're going to have to probably spend $21, $22 million of that on one player. Is he worth it? That's the question. And if they do bring him in, I've been consistent in saying I don't expect to retain a Marcus Golden, especially if you bring back a Leonard Williams. So that's my take on that. That's the price that he's going to command. Now, as far as the rumor goes, here is what he posted on Instagram today. Now, this is the second thing that he posted on Instagram, and I didn't even talk about the first one. I was well aware of it, but a bunch of my subscribers say you got to make a video on this, and it is all over Twitter. People are getting excited about it. I think it's very possible we could end up with this guy. When you factor in the cap space, when you factor in that you could argue it's our biggest need, and there's not a big-time offensive tackle outside of a Conklin who may very well stay with the Tennessee Titans. So this could be our one really big free agency signing this year. Certainly possible, and I know Giants fans would get very excited if you bring in a Yannick Ngakoue. It really adds up. He's very young, 25 years old. He fits the direction of this team, much like a Leonard Williams. And today he posted, of course, a picture of Lawrence Taylor for no reason. And you would say that's not such a big deal, but when you see what else was posted about a week ago, if you're not aware, things are starting to add up that at least Ngakoue is potentially very interested in being a New York Giant. The question is, are the New York Giants very interested in acquiring him? And also, will the Jacksonville Jaguars let him hit the open market? Here is the initial post. This was I don't think he created this. Somebody else created this. It was a picture of Yannick Ngakoue on Instagram of him in a Justin Tuck story. Now, I may be getting Justin Tuck jersey. Now, I may be getting this story wrong, but to my understanding, somebody posted it. Yannick Ngakoue, I think, asked Justin Tuck if he would look good in that jersey, and getting playful there. And then Justin Tuck responded and said, "I think you would," somewhere along those lines. I'm paraphrasing a bit, and and then this was basically a description of what took place there. This was tweeted out by Big Blue United the day it happened. Justin Tuck has endorsed the Giants signing Yannick Ngakoue in free agency and giving him number 91. Time to bring back the Big Blue Wrecking Crew. So now there's a pattern, and now Giants fans are very excited that this guy could potentially be a New York Giant, and he's a huge name on the free agency market. He's going to be one of the most coveted players out there, and I certainly think the New York Giants will be in play if he does become available. The last time we signed a high-priced free agent at that position, it was Olivier Vernon. And the one thing I will say, Vernon's numbers were pretty comparable. I don't know him off the top of my head, but he was always around that 8-sack range before becoming a New York Giant, and he always stayed there with the Giants. I think Ngakoue's a better player. I also like I said, he has more experience, at least in my opinion. Obviously, Vernon converted, but in playing in both systems, and I think he's a guy that they really will take a good, hard, strong look at. When you look at his ability to play in both systems, he's demonstrated that. Was not thought to be an elite pass rusher coming out of college. He was in the same draft as Bosa. Bosa went first overall. He was ranked the 8th best 3-4 outside linebacker by a few sources that I saw before I made this video coming in. But he certainly has exceeded expectations. And the thing, like I said earlier in the video, that I really like about an Ngakoue is his consistency. To me, that's important. I don't want a player that I don't know if he's going to stay healthy. I don't want a player who one year is going to give me 4 sacks and the next year he's going to give me 12. This guy has demonstrated that he's had 8 sacks or more every year, and that's pretty impressive. Jason Pierre-Paul was kind of a player like that, where one year he'd give you 15 sacks and then he kind of regressed, then he had a bounce back year. I would much prefer a guy that's always going to get me between 8 and 12 sacks. You're going to get production with this guy, and he could still have significant upside. Like I said, the guy's still only 25 years old next year, so he's still very young, and you're probably going to, even if it's a 5-year deal, you're probably going to get good production throughout the course of the contract as long as he stays healthy. He'll still be 30 years old when he hits the open market next time. If you looked at that chart, Khalil Mack was 29 when he signed his most recent extension with the Chicago Bears. So it's a good time to sign Ngakoue if the Jaguars do not franchise tag him. Like I said, this is all speculation. This is all excitement. It might mean nothing. First off, the Jaguars can't franchise tag him. And we'll see if they do or they don't. My guess is Ngakoue will threaten to hold out if they do that. And, we'll see where that goes. But Giants fans I know are excited. I know they wanted me to make a video on it. And I know you guys are pumped up. We'll see if Ngakoue is wearing blue at the conclusion of free agency. Free agency, of course, is in late March. And it seems as if Yannick is at least playing with the idea of being a New York Giant. Of course, I remember when Dwayne Haskins last year said, bring me back to the crib. Now, Dwayne Haskins probably wanted to be a Giant. Turned out the Giants didn't want him. We'll see if the Giants want Ngakoue if he's available. As always, guys, if you like what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.